chilling with the podcast crew. Got signals up, yeah, we're on the move. Talking Batman tales, we're telling what's true. Gotham Knights breaking down each clue. TBOF, bring the heat. Talking Batman ain't that sweet. Tune in for the crime and lore. Batmanimation, we want more. Laugh, the Bane's mighty roar, Arkham secrets and so much more. Dive into shadows, legends reborn through the darkest night. The baddest swarm, TBOF, bringing the heat. Talking Batman ain't that sweet. Tune in for the crime and lore. Batmanimation, we want more.
The Adventures of Batman.
Welcoming you to the new adventures of Batman.
Welcome to Batmanimation, a Batman on Film podcast exploring the animated adventures of the Caped Crusader. I am host, senior BOF contributor Ryan Lauer, and with me is Mr. Bedan Pockets himself, senior BOF contributor Peter R. Verra. Hello, Pete.
Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing well today. Doing well. We're doing this on a Friday. There's always a little extra energy on a Friday because the weekend's coming. Doing pretty good. How about you?
Good. Doing good.
Okay, let's just get right to it then. We're going to continue this Batmanimation.
So excited to be here, Ryan. Can't wait to
through-
talk about cartoons. I love Batman so much. He's amazing. Let's go, booyah. Go Longhorns.
Oh, hey, come on. Come on. Longhorns don't have a good representative in their fan base, like an iconic, I should say. Iconic one. Like
What do you mean?
your boy in Alabama.
They have Matthew McConaughey. What are you talking about?
He's cool, but I mean,
He's
I don't go down rabbit holes watching Matthew McConaughey clips.
well, then you're not living life to the fullest extent.
Okay, my bad. Go Wolverines. Anyways, Pete, you and I are reuniting. We did a couple episodes ago here on Batmanimation for episode 4 of Caped Crusader, because those following along at home, we're going episode by episode here on Batmanimation for Caped Crusader. And today, Pete and I are on episode 6, Night Ride. Not Let's Ride.
Let's ride.
It's Night Ride. This is the Gentleman Ghost episode, as a lot of episodes are usually categorized and labeled by the villains that's showing up in that episode, the memorable aspects. And Pete, this, I don't know how, let's see, you and I think after, because I binged it all in one day. You did it, I think maybe over a couple days.
Yeah.
But you and I talked, and we both came about this episode, and I think you were the one that said, "Oh, we should talk about it on Batmanimation." And I said, "I think that'd be an interesting discussion." So this episode, Night Ride,
Let's ride.
I want to, let's see, obviously it dropped on August 1st, on Amazon Prime. It's the only place that you can watch it. It was written by, you know his name,
Edward
Mark Bernardin.
Damn it.
Bernardine? Good. Directed by Christopher Berkeley, who I believe has also directed other episodes here in this first season. This is Bernardin's only episode that he wrote for this first season. I want to get your thoughts first, just like overall, without being too specific. Like, what, upon first viewing of this episode, what did you think?
It was okay. The whole Gentleman Ghost thing doesn't really. It's funny because when you mentioned like, oh, it's named after the villain, the most memorable part, I was like, the whole Gentleman Ghost stuff is kind of not memorable for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I kind of, when I think of this, I think of Harvey Dent, and I'm like, oh, this is an interesting way to kind of push Harvey Dent over the edge. And that's kind of what I think about when I think about this episode, because we
Okay.
see a lot of, just Harvey struggling with his election. He's trying to get his numbers up, and it's not happening, and everything he does kind of ends up going going to hell, right? And
Hmm.
obviously because of the gentleman ghost, right? That's a big part of it. That subway scene is kind of a big. It's literally kind of like the last straw for Harvey, and by end he's sitting there on the phone with Thorpe. I said Thorpe.
Thorpe.
Thorne. Thorne. I'm getting Superman characters mixed up.
There you go.
Thorne. And you kind of see the beginning of the downfall here.
Hmm.
So that's really what I think of when this episode. And I know this episode has been kind of controversial amongst people. Like they don't like it. Some people say it's the outlier. It stands out. It's just it feels like it doesn't belong here. Blah blah blah. I'm just like to be honest, like I'm so into the Harvey Dent stuff. I'm like I don't know, it worked for me, but not because of the main villain. It's because of everything
Sure.
else around.
So I fall into that category. I only watched it the one time, and then I've been through Batmanimation too. I've been taking my time on the rewatch, basically just watching episode by episode. And I felt like maybe I was a little distracted watching this episode the first time because I was just really focused on how are they going to explain realistically this gentleman ghost. And then the way he's disappearing and going through walls and then freezing Batman's hand. And I'm like, man, how are they going to end up explaining this and making it seem like realistic? And then they get to a graveyard where he disappears into black smoke and then goes in Alfred's mouth. And I'm like, okay, I don't think there's an explanation here that's going to make this realistic. I
I
think
think
we're
he's a
in,
ghost.
yeah, I think he's a ghost. I think this is leaning into the buzzword lately, fantastical. And I didn't know if I was watching this open-mindedly because when I was done with it, I'm like, man, this just feels like such an outlier. And by the time I finished this first season, I was
So
like,
Lauer,
this and Nocturne that comes 2 episodes later, these are outlying episodes for this season.
let me ask you a question.
All right, let me answer this question.
Do you believe in ghosts? Does Ryan Lauer,
Ooh,
cousin of Brian Lauer, believe in ghosts?
ooh, Brian's a son of a bitch.
That's what I heard.
Sure.
So
But I've
then this
always,
isn't.
but I've,
It's
but I've,
just
but I've always
okay.
said I don't need something to happen to make me believe in God.
Okay. All right.
I don't need to wake up in the middle of the night with
I'm
one
just
over my
saying.
bed going, "Ah, Ohio State." Ugh, I don't need that.
Okay, fair
Don't
enough.
need
All
that.
right. No voodoo for you.
No.
Yeah. So like I don't know if someone believes in ghosts, is this that fantastical? Just to kind of devil's advocate here.
Sure. Okay.
As crazy as it sounds, like people have believed other things. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. To me, again, the Harvey Dent stuff just stands out so much to I just forget about the ghost entirely. I don't even actually
Mhm.
like I doesn't isn't traditionally the gentleman ghost kind of like a suit with like walking eyes and a top hat?
I
Do you
really
think
wanted to
he's
read. I have
with another
the,
character?
let's see, Tales of the Batman collection, Len Wein, and he's got
Uh-huh.
two really fun Gentleman Ghost issues. I think
Okay.
Batman 310 and Batman 319.
Hmm.
Those are two really fun Gentleman Ghost comic book issues. Brave and the Bold, which Bill, I know he think right away. Gentleman Ghost was in the Brave and the Bold, and like that was fun. So I just kind of thought like the sell of the series was really taking it in like a little bit more of a grounded level. And then when we saw certain aspects of it, I know there was talk even in the Facebook group of like, don't just go ahead and believe right away that this is fantastical. It's fantastical. It's not as out there as you may think. And then in watching this, I think that was just what was on my mind. So then in rewatching it, I'm like with you, I think like it's a very kind of smaller subplot, but like there's a trajectory element of Harvey Dent's story in season one that's pretty crucial in this episode. And I really dug that. I did dig like the kind of eerie vibe and atmosphere with the ghost and like the mansion, the graveyard at the end and everything. But it like in the end, it's just I don't, and I think the voice performance of the gentleman ghost himself, he by Toby Stevens, he sounds cool, but I'm just like I
Toby.
just not I'm not that invested in this
Yeah.
episode with Gentleman Ghost. I'm just
No.
not.
No, it's just by episode's end, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. Now he's a Gentleman Ghost is in a test tube, and that's it. All right, cool. Episode
Yeah.
over.
Yep.
We're moving forward with Harvey Dent. Again,
Moving
man, I
on.
can't stress enough that this is all about Harvey Dent for me, because it's kind of,
Yeah,
I guess, now, I don't want to say it's the only way I get through the episode, because I don't think it's a bad episode.
I agree.
I just don't care. It's kind of
Yeah.
like Batman Off-World. I don't care. I'm not reading it, but it's still out there, right? Like, so I don't know how often I'll rewatch this. It's still out there.
think-
Okay. It just kind of moves Harvey Dent along a little bit, and then we're on to the next thing.
I think I'll rewatch this before reading Offworld.
Probably
10 out
just
of 10
because it'll
times.
be like the next episode, right? Like I actually
Yeah.
have to, like, there's a good
And-
chance I just like, okay, pop it in. And also this episode's good because it gives you an introduction to Lucius, right? Like you get a little bit
Yeah.
more
You
into
get more.
Lucius.
Yeah, we saw Lucius as the lawyer in the Catwoman episode, also
Mhm.
directed by Berkeley. But he was, he was very minor in there, but he gets a little bit more time here to shine, and he does, like, he's kind of important to the plot. He also kind of does a little nudging of Bruce's treatment of Pennyworth, here, and you start to see in this, which I really like too. Pennyworth
Yes.
gets a little bit more to do in this episode. So again, like Gentleman Ghost,
And episode's end, he gets a little love.
exactly. Gentleman Ghost is like, he's such a like off the beaten path for me with this, because I look at like, oh yeah, Lucius, he has some cool moments. Oh, the atmosphere on the episode. Oh, the Pennyworth and Bruce focus is a little bit more there, and you see, and I keep saying Pennyworth because obviously there's a reason. And this whole is suited up as Batman at the end, because Alfred jumps in front of him to, inhale black smoke. And Batman tells him at the end, why did you do that? And he's like, this job, I can't do it with, and then like stops himself from going on. We know what he was going to say. And that, like, instantly upon this rewatch made me go back to Lucius's comment there at the beginning when they're in Wayne Manor. And he said something along the lines of, we treat our help like human beings, or something like that. And maybe you should try it too, and so something that stood out on first viewing for me, and I don't feel like it ever got referenced in the remaining episodes of this season, is when Alfred's, when he's possessed and
You mean after he takes the giant, massive ghost bong hit?
Yeah, which, what a trip. And Alfred apparently has a secret. And at first, upon hearing it, I thought like, oh yeah, the secret of like Bruce Wayne is Batman. And then he's like, but he's trying so hard to not even tell you. And I'm like, oh, okay,
No,
that
it's
doesn't
about
apply.
Martha.
It's another secret. What, Alfred and Martha
Getting it
affair.
No,
Wow,
but I
that'd
think it's
be
about the
a jump.
Waynes.
Okay.
Yeah. Martha being a chubby chaser.
Sure.
But I thought I was with you. I thought it was the identity. Alfred's going to take. I feel like that's kind of the secret. It could be the Waynes. I don't know. Maybe we'll never find out. Right. I imagine the only way we will find out is if something ghostly happens again. So maybe we see Dead Man at some point. I have no idea. I'm trying to think of how the Gentleman Ghost would, or I guess Alfred would reveal the information. I'm just spitballing here, but season 2 stuff. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe it's something that never gets revealed. I'm not sure.
I guess I just really thought if they're going to mention it, then that must be something. Okay, laying some groundwork for this to come up later. And there's 4
that's what
episodes
I was
after this,
thinking.
and it just wasn't referenced again. And
Yeah,
so yeah, I'm
and
a
they
little
don't-
curious, like, huh?
No real direction either. Like, what could it
Yeah.
be?
Yeah,
Like, Harvey Dent is your brother.
yeah. You have another brother, and he's with the Court of Owls. Oh my god.
Oh no.
So yeah, so I mean, and there wasn't any emphasis on it from Batman after he says it either. Of like, you mentioned a secret, and Alfred like, oh my goodness, none of that. It's just gone. So, huh?
What if he's
Okay,
Oswaldo's
we'll
long lost son?
Or, yeah, because Alfred and Oswald getting it in. Anyways,
Yeah, that's it. Just everyone getting it in. All of a sudden, it turns into 60s Batman.
oh my goodness.
Hey y'all, it's Bill Ramey, founder of Batman on Film. Let's take a quick pause in this podcast for these words from our sponsor.
Let's see some other point of focus. You said with the Harvey Dent story here, I do like this whole season is just such an arc, and I think they really take their time and do a great job of turning Harvey Dent into Two-Face. Kind of start to, and I think this is like a really good episode that shows almost like the big bad Harv side, because he's starting to flip out
The
because
ball's rolling.
yeah, he's starting to slip because he's losing support, even though in his mind he can't understand why he's losing support, because he thinks he's doing the right thing, he's doing the right performance. He's not like he's not a saint. Like, he knows he's being manipulative, kind of being a little schmarmy and everything, but
Schmarmy.
he's starting to, yeah,
I like that.
schmarmy, eating shawarma. And
Is that what that means? Is that an Indiana term?
I don't know.
Oh,
No.
I thought it was from Indiana slang.
Oh, schmarmy.
Old Schmarmy. Oh, watch
Old
over that
Schmarmy.
Holzman. Eat old Schmarmy.
Holzman's old schmarmy. But like,
That's great. I'm gonna call him Schmarmy.
please do. Please
I have
do.
no idea. He's not gonna see it
No clue.
coming.
No.
Oh, little sneak attack for the old Holzman.
And you could say that that's for his opposition to grounded Batman.
Schmarmy.
So with Dent, so his little assistant, I instantly was waiting. Like, I know this from the first viewing. I was waiting for Harvey to call him Vernon. A nice little long Halloween reference, but it wasn't so. And
Ooh, were you sad, Ryan?
I was not.
Did you go to Twitter and just
I am
express
due to
express
have
your
Vernon.
anger?
Vernon needs to show up here in
The
Cape
fans
Crusader.
deserve it.
Yes, we deserve it. But his treatment to him and how he's a little, angry with that, but then it does lead to Harvey. He's one of the people, and he rides the public transit, which we get
Right.
another gentleman ghost attack, if you will, and that doesn't do any good for Harvey. It makes him slip even more to where he becomes a desperate man, and he, lays for what's going to happen in two episodes from here. More Rupert Thorne action with Harvey Dent. And I just think that all that part is done really well. I enjoy that.
It's like I said earlier, it's just an interesting way to get Harvey to fall,
Yeah.
It just is. I was like, wow, okay. Like I don't dislike it. It's just not my jam, but everything around it is, there's a lot, like when he says he can't do the job without Alfred at the end there, man, I'm like, yes, here we go. This is it. Because he's kind of been a dick to Alfred for most of the episode.
Yeah.
Earlier, and just, whatever. This like, this is a nice, what? This is good Halloween season right around the corner. If you want some Batman and you want some animated or something, just kind of, get you in the season. I think you can put on this Batman versus Dracula, along those lines. Maybe some Man-Bat episodes would be Tez.
Maybe the long Halloween animated movies,
Oh, you could do that. That's not a
this
bad
is
choice.
one that definitely, like, this could be one that could fit in, like, every Halloween, put it on the background while I'm doing something.
Yeah.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, you just watch Michael Myers kill like 40 kids in the span of like 2 hours.
Maybe need to take a break.
Yeah, just
from murder.
The brutal mutilation of babysitters and teenagers.
What do you think of this version of Rupert Thorne?
He's in line with everything I like about gangsters. He's just kind of, oh, hey, come on over here. Let me help you out. Okay. Now you're in debt to me for about 120 grand. He's just, he's schwarmy,
He's definitely schmarmy.
Schmarmy.
But he has a little bit like of in control, and like, you can tell he's capable of being a lot more domineering and powerful, but he's holding it back. Because he's playing Mr. Manipulator until he's really got, until he really has Harvey, which we do see later on. Like, once he has Harvey, then you see a different side of it. But right now he's just trying to, schmooze him.
Yeah. Hey, I'm your friend. I can help you out.
Hey, pal, look at this. I told him to take a walk around the block. Hey, you got some problems. I got some money.
We'll see what he says.
Yeah. I dig it too. I think it's true to a character of Rupert Thorne. Just looks different, but otherwise, like, the character itself, I think is well done. Pretty spot on. I did enjoy with this episode was the, it says her name's Wilma in the library, comes out, oh, get up, Percy. but gives the quick backstory of the Craddock
Mhm.
family. And I really like the stills of like these paintings and stuff, given the history. I think those are pretty cool. And it's a different, it's a different look.
Mhm.
But it's like a summarizing a quick little like scary horror story or something. And I think like overall, like that's kind of it with this. I don't think we necessarily need to dissect too much of it. And it's not that you and I aren't fans of it. It's just it's interesting to me, especially Matt Reeves, he made comments recently too, talking about how taking this episode in particular would be a hard one to do in the universe he's creating in the live action movies. And this up to this point, everything seemed pretty, you know, realistic to an extent. And this kind of jumped out there. It skipped a few steps and just went.
Mhm.
So it's a bit of an outlier for me, and it's not that I won't revisit it in the future. It just will. I just don't feel it'll ever be a go-to.
Yeah, no,
So
I can't agree with you anymore. Yeah. What do you think about Alfred being a nobleman? Just for, oh wow, he does it all.
I think it's great.
Just he's a good guy, that Alfred.
I do. I like this version of Alfred quite a bit. Uh, I don't really care, that this Alfred is heftier. I don't really care.
Right.
He's everything else that he's doing seems
I'm
very
happy he has a
much on
mustache.
brand with Alfred. Yeah, he's got a good mustache.
Yeah, it's been a
Um,
while.
he said one point in here, I did like the quote, and I forget who he was quoting, but he tells Batman in the Batcave, which I love all the Batcave scenes in this season. Um, he's like, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. And that's kind of his selling point to Batman, that you're sitting here fighting that it's not a ghost. Well, I think now we know that, like, just accept that this guy is a ghost, which leads Batman to, I think it's a Jinn, uh,
Mhm.
who tells him how to, like, goes down
It's
the
basically
road
the
of the
point where
stuff.
Alfred says, this far in the journey now, you've got to expect the unexpected.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's just
And
you're
I think it's
you're too
cool.
far into this world now, where being the capes and tights, right? Like it
Yeah.
started off one way, and now it's, hey, look, this is what you're gonna have to deal with, because you do things that nobody else can do, and that's there's a little bit of a pivot here.
It's a little close to the Dark Knight, and a ruby size of a tangerine. We
Mhm.
burn the force down. It's kind of that thing of like, you got to go
Bama.
to yes. Yeah, that's the route. Like that's the level you have to go to now for this. And I think that's applicable in a lot of situations, and I think in good moments with Alfred and Batman, where Alfred's the one that's pushing him, kind of like, advising him and such, to what he's gonna have to do to stop the threat. And I liked that. That was cool. I think so. This is what I found out with like haunted house stories, ghost stories, and stuff like
Mhm.
that. I think I'm all in until it comes to time to solve the case, so to speak, or get rid of the ghost. And then it starts to dip into like
You want your Scooby
eye
Doo.
rolly, a little
You
eye
just kind of want
rolly.
to like pull the mask off and be like, oh, let's die.
That's it. Yeah. Like, give me the chasing and the spooks and all that stuff, and then just be like, he tripped.
Mhm.
Let's take off the mask, and oh, it's Mr. Miller. Oh my gosh. One of those moments where here, once it does, he does go to the Linton Midnight.
Mhm.
And that's when it, like, even with that, I'm like, okay, so yeah, it just gets a little too I don't know how I would even phrase it. Not my
Yeah.
take. So
I was like, oh,
anyways,
okay, I was like, oh, why couldn't it be Madame Xanadu? I don't know.
why
Whatever.
couldn't it be Darkseid? Why couldn't it be
Why,
Uxas? Bring in
why is there
Uxas.
no Uxas? Where is Uxas?
Saving him for
He's
season
on
2.
Netflix, washing his tights.
Oh gosh. Uh Pete, that's all I've got. I don't have anything else for Night Ride.
Yeah.
You good? You have anything else?
All I have to say is I want to know. Take a look at my book of Batmanimation.
Totally different show. Totally different show. Okay.
Oh, hey,
If you
look.
I'm looking.
There you go.
Okay. If you had a favorite part, and no, not if. What's your favorite part of this episode?
It's when Harvey's like really pissed off and everything's going wrong. He's like, I forget what his name, but he's like, we got to fire Chapman, whoever the assistant's name is. I just love how like miserable and Dupree's like, he's like, I can't do anything. Can we fire? I'm firing this guy. He's so down and out of his robe, and he's just like miserable and just he's like everything's falling apart, and it's I love that part because it just made me laugh. I was like, yeah, he has had enough.
I like it.
That's it. Yeah, that's actually my favorite.
Do you without thinking of it, do you it's a stupid question. Do you hear Diedrich Bader as Harvey Dent? I'm like, oh yeah, I can hear
every once in a while, yeah, I hear him, but I don't hear Batman.
I agree.
If that makes sense. I hear his voice in it, but I don't hear Batman's voice in Harvey Dent.
Yeah, and thankfully it's because I've seen Diedrich Bader in other things.
Stuff. Yeah.
So it's like, oh yeah, there he is. Like
every once in a while there's that like
Lance in Office Space.
That nice bass in there.
Lance in Office like, yeah, man. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
There's that. And then I've been rewatching Veep, and he pops up in Veep, and he's great in that as well. So I think, yeah, I'm with you. I hear that, but I'm not like, oh, this is his Batman from Brave and the Bold.
Can you imagine Harvey Dent with a mullet?
Now I can. And I want that.
I reckon you get your ass kicked for that.
Say something like that, man.
Yeah.
No, man. I believe you get your ass kicked. Say something like that, man.
I think it'd be funny if he did like a little voiceover dub with that accent with Harvey Dent in the courtroom, just to be like, Judge, just for shits and giggles, because it's funny. That accent when he does that makes me laugh. I love Office Space.
I said Lance, of course. His name's actually Lawrence in Office Space, because all the great ones with killer mustaches are named Lawrence. But now I'm thinking of him as that, and the judge asks him in the courtroom, was like, "Mr. District Attorney, do you have anything else? Do you have anything left to say?" Nah, man. I believe you get your ass kicked to say something like that, man.
Yeah.
Doesn't that chick look like Anne? Just oh, I'm sorry, man. I love that guy.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Makes me laugh.
Oh, my favorite part. Let's see. I think some of the ghost stuff is kind of cool. I just like the visual of Batman and Alfred like in the cemetery with the creepy mansion way in the background. I just like the visual of that. And then what follows, I don't really care for, but I think it looks cool at least. So that's my highlight.
All right, there you go.
All right, there we go. All right, that does it for Night Ride. Next episode 7 is Moving Target. That's got onomatopoeia in it.
Who's doing that one?
That was old Bill Jet Ramey and Javi.
Oh, good. Okay, they need to do stuff. I'm tired of doing these things.
Let Bill on this podcast. For
that guy's got to do some work. He's got to do something. I'll tell you what, Bill does not do enough for BOF.
I know it. Yeah. I'll give him a heads up that you're the one that's responsible for everything, for all that.
I thought it was Rachel, but that's a different story.
Okay, well, yeah, different story.
Yeah.
Okay.
We all report to Rachel.
That episode's coming up next. I was a fan of that episode more than this episode, but you're not going to hear my thoughts. You're going to hear theirs. So, Pete, go ahead. Plug away.
Personally, socially, at Pete Illustrated. News-based, straight out of Gotham, at straight_O_G. Again, Holzman reigns supreme. Spider-Man, at Spidey Coalition, times Spider-Man Coalition. BatmanandFilm.com, Batman Film YouTube, and once a month I appear on Brian Lauer's The Batman Book Club with Oasis.
Yes, that's I think what I got to plug as well is my podcast, The Batman Book Club. The most recent episode is with Peter R. Verra, and we talked about new Batman comics that came out in August, and Bill has generously posted that on BOF. Also, I have a written review for Batman number 152. I thought I did.
Sure.
Maybe I didn't. Oh my gosh, maybe I'm behind on that. That's gonna be coming up on.
Slacker.
That's gonna be coming up on Batman on Film as well. So there you go.
Child.
Ugh, I'm gonna be punished.
That's it. 20
okay.
minutes, no Batman.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up then.
well,
For
you're the
Pete,
host.
I'm Ryan, and let's let announcer Rachel take us out.
Who's this?
Thanks for listening to Batmanimation, a BatmanOnFilm.com podcast revisiting the animated TV and film adventures of the Caped Crusader. Follow Batmanimation on Twitter @Batmanimation. Follow BOF on Twitter @TheBatmanOnFilm. Follow Jet on Twitter @BatmanOnFilm. For Jet and Team BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Batman on Film, authoritative, definitive, the original, established in 1998.